Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the inaugural series of said YouTube channel. So, if you came from the last video, which is part 3, we are now part 4, you know exactly why I am desk post-prod editor Katie right now. It's because I decided to split Seulgi represented in Red Velvet's discography over the course of 2 videos into Zimzalabim and Q. Zimzalabim. The most notable and striking scene of this video for Seulgi is around the 125 mark when she's cloaked in all black, which is striking because the rest of the video is full of neons, crazy shots. This black cloaked look is so striking in this music video because the rest of the video is neon, bright, crazy textures, crazy colors. They go out of their way to make this video pop. And Seulgi cloaked in all black is pretty extreme. Could it be reaching? Maybe. But she is sat at the front of the Yeri coaster. I'm calling it the Yeri coaster, Yeri plus roller coaster. Perhaps this is the director's way of saying she's really excited in this concept. She's confident. She wants on the Yeri coaster. I don't know. Up for you to decide why she's sitting in the front. Umpah Umpah. Umpah Umpah. This is another summer release, so we're not looking at too deep of symbolization in this one. The most notable thing to me about this video was that she did end up having the bad luck and having to go out and fix the broken TV radio thing on the roof. And perhaps that the door frame is yellow, which is another connection to gateways and doors that we have observed in the past. Again, because this is a summer release, it totally could be a coincidence, but I found it striking and I found it fun, so now I'm telling you. Psycho. Ooh, boy. If you're a Reve of the Red Velvet fandom, you know that this could warrant an entire video. I'm going to do my best to sit on Kang Seulgi, admire Kang Seulgi, and point out what is important to her representation through this video, as opposed to try and just analyze Psycho. If you've not watched Red Velvet's Psycho music video, you totally should. It is beautiful. First, we have themes of black and white, when other members or their surroundings are featuring primarily white. She is wearing black, dark colors. And not to mention, this is the first time I've noticed chains on her fit, which is important to keep in mind for my 28 reasons analysis. It is important to note that when she's sewing, she is wearing all white, but so are the other members. Is she disguising herself to fit in with them? Possibly. The way they've set up the sewing scene is that they're doing something communally. They're all facing each other in this room. Nobody's blocking the door. When they open the door, we can see someone facing the door and the other members facing each other. It wouldn't shock me that Seulgi is choosing to wear all white for scenes regarding sewing, and in this scene, to disguise herself to fit in with the other members, get in their good graces, to be able to get in their minds a little bit. As in, speak to them later, gossip, hot goss, acquire that tea, just as we were talking about earlier in the video with other music videos. Speaking of secrets and acquiring that tea, so many references to gateways, closing the door, spilling secrets to each other, whispering in each other's ear throughout this video. The scenes of members telling each other secrets often feature them in their own world, telling this conversation, and then shyly looking up toward the camera, noticing someone's watching. Some striking scenes that have to do with these secret tellings, talkings. One would be that she is seen talking on one of those things kids make that are strings and plastic cups. You know, the thing that's like a cup and it's connected by a string. Yeah, you know the thing. She's talking on one with Yeri, and Joy cuts the string to kill that communication. Based on what we know about Seulgi in the past music videos, we could say that Joy is cutting that string because she doesn't want Yeri talking to Seulgi. This theory could be supported by the fact that we've seen Joy followed by Seulgi wearing an all-black outfit, juxtaposing what the other members are doing. It's almost like her figure of this black fit is looming behind Joy. Not unknowingly, Joy clearly knows, but does she always know the precise moments that Seulgi's watching? Does she know what all Seulgi knows? Probably not. Because what Seulgi seems to know is plenty. Seulgi is very frequently on the receiving end of said drama. I feel like I need to go watch this music video 1,000 more times. I've seen it 1,000 times, and now I'm going to watch it 1,000 more times. But if my notes do me well, she is never spilling secrets. She is always on the receiving end of this drama. Needless to continue to beat into your skulls, Seulgi knows a lot of information, but people don't know a lot of information on Seulgi. The use of gateways in this video is just impeccable. From the train to this museum house basement structure that they are in, commonly members are seen closing doors, opening doors, standing at doorways. And as a velvet concept, a more mature concept, a darker concept, we can assume there is some symbolization and something a little deeper beyond the surface going on here, beyond standing at a doorway. This is seen throughout all the members. Seulgi is just seen being the receiver of those secrets, and secretism and gateways into information being seen as a common theme and symbol throughout the video. I have to move on. I need to stop talking about Psycho. Monster by Irene and Seulgi. Monster comes in the wake of Wendy being unable to perform after falling and having her accident during the Psycho promotions. However, the seeds were planted earlier on for Seulgi to be Irene's direct juxtaposition, which we see in both Monster and Naughty. Irene is pretty clearly considered the innocent one in this video, while Seulgi is the darker theme person in this video. Seulgi is seen crawling towards Irene confidently while she sits girlishly and innocently waiting. We can see in the choreography that she is the one who is snapping Irene around and putting her into place. And while Seulgi is sleeping, we can see a girlish, clothed in white version of Irene approaching Seulgi in the night. Strong connections to the themes of good, evil, mature, naive, through the use of black and white in this video. Naughty, 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 do, 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 do. The beginning of this performance video is very striking in use of color. While Irene is the day, Seulgi is the night. While Irene are the light pink, Seulgi is the blue fluorescent lighting. While Irene is wearing white and simpler clothing, Seulgi is in all black and wearing more intense clothing. At the very beginning of the video, when they're strutting their stuff, Seulgi ends up entering Irene's portion of this other world. She leaves her timeline, her parallel world, her fictitious other world, and steps into Irene's and is clearly shocked by this. The majority of the video is in black and white, but when the color returns, it begins in Irene's pinky color, and then begins to flip-flop between the two. Could this be Seulgi, her darkness, infiltrating on Irene's naivete, Irene's childlike innocence, Irene's optimism? I think so. Not to mention, she's wearing a chain necklace. The chains! The chains. She's in command of the chains. She wears the chains, and she wears them confidently. She wears them as if they're just part of her outfit, because honestly, they just are. Don't forget the chains! All in all, the Irene and Seulgi subunit sets up Seulgi to represent the dark, the mature, and yet again, some infiltration onto people's personal information, changing them. That's our Queendom, baby! The first comeback with Wendy, new and renewed and rejuvenated and healthy. This was a fun concept to come back with now as a renewed 5-member group, and of course Red Velvet doesn't disappoint. The themes of gateways and Seulgi being in control of those gateways of information is reflected in the very beginning of the video. In the beginning, an AirPod falls down a sewage drain, and we follow its journey down to this magical underground, where Seulgi is, of course, the receptionist front desk lady. You know, the person who has people's information on file and, tells people you're here and allows you to go back into this other world, controls the flow of in and out. That's my girl Kong Seulgi in this video. Color symbolism in this video is heavy on individual members. Specifically, Seulgi's yellow and orange, which is even seen in her hair color for this era. All in all, the goals of Queendom were to be an exciting, fun reintroduction of a new, healthy Wendy, and there's not much else to say, except for we're glad to have Wendy back, and we're glad she's safe. On to the next one, which is Feel My Rhythm. Feel My Rhythm. Words do not describe how much I love this video. I love this video. I love it. And of course, Seulgi doesn't disappoint. Seulgi is very clearly some sort of Maleficent-esque villain in this video. In the recording behind, she even references the scene of her sitting atop her throne, cloaked in all black, biting into a strawberry, the killing part. This particular shot of her sitting atop this tall yet modest silver throne is very reflective of a storybook villain. And overall, that is the theme of the video. Even the beginning of the music video has the girls in like a painted children's book looking scene before it turns into a real life shoot. There are some crows around her that are some sort of devotee, some sort of servant possibly. They're also all black crows. They move in quick, spooky jabs, and in the context of people dressed as birds, it is kind of spooky, I won't lie. But in reality, that is how birds move, with quick jabs, quick turns, very quick. These birdmen devotees carry the strawberries from which she uses her long, slender sword to pick from and eat. All in all, Feel My Rhythm is a beautiful execution of both a cohesive Red Velvet aesthetic, color, unifying color palette, but also allowing each member to have their individual role, allowing each member to showcase what they mean to the Red Velvet discography as an individual. And Seulgi's feature in her individual shots do show her as a classic storybook villain. The iconic solo Kong Seulgi scene for Birthday is her fighting this giant yarn fur bear monster thing. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it is something she's battling in some sort of wrestling match arena. When fighting with this monster, she is not seen to be scared of it, and she is seen to come out on top. We see her using a traffic cone to yell in its face, like using that as a megaphone. We see her hitting it with a bat with the force that causes the explosion to be seen from outer space. And throughout the latter halves of the video, we can see Seulgi riding the monster, not even using her hands, peace signs in the air, excitedly winning the battle. There is a consistency in the use of camera throughout this video, and it is that the members aren't afraid to look it in the eye and have their solo shots where they're looking directly into the lens of the camera, such as I'm doing right now. Kind of reminiscent of the Happiness video, if you ask me. In terms of color symbolism, we do see her wearing some yellow and orange in some shots. However, color is less important in this way in this video. It's the chain and the fearlessness that is characterizing Seulgi throughout this video, as opposed to highlighting those darks and lights that we've already discussed, or her individual color. Though the director doesn't quite let us let go of that individual color of yellowy orange. So let's do a little summation, because why does this all matter? The biggest takeaway is that color is so important to the creative team of Red Velvet. The way they use color has shifted over time too. We established color as an early motive earlier in their career by giving each member an individual color that is highlighted throughout the different music videos. In some cases in their earlier videography, when they're still kind of figuring out that concept and exposing themselves as who they are, the colors don't exactly match up as we talked about in Dum Dum, but the important part is that they are using specific colors and consistently through music videos to highlight each member as an individual. Color can also be used to unify the group as seen in Feel My Rhythm. The types of colors can be important for Red Velvet. Throughout their career, they've used lights versus darks as goods versus evils, and they've used muted tones versus bright tones for confident versus less sure. They've used cool and dulled color palettes to represent more mature concepts, while they use vibrant, bright, oversaturated colors to represent more youthful, more freeing concepts. And this case study proves that it is important over time, and that does not stop with 28 Reasons. The second big takeaway of these discoveries is that secretism, being at the scene of the crime, and being the instigator are important to how Seulgi is characterized in the Red Velvet canon. Rookie is a great example of how she's not afraid to be the instigator and the opener of that doorway into this new fantasy realm. The sharing of secrets and the gathering of info is very clear in the Psycho music video. And there is no more clear example of Kang Seulgi honestly always at the scene of the crime than the Russian roulette music video. Kang Seulgi is a gatherer of info, not a sharer of info. She has questionable intentions with the information that she gathers. She seems to be storing it away somewhere in the back of her mind to be used in whatever way she needs it to be. And she doesn't always end up in the best places. She is typically at that scene of the crime. Well, we can use what we know about how important color is to Red Velvet to help us analyze the video. We can see the differences between the blues and the reds in 28 Reasons. We can see the darks versus the lights, the saturated colors versus the less saturated scenes, the monochrome themes versus the colored themes. All of these can help us discern how Kang Seulgi uses these elements to create the theme of good and evil existing in one person. Seulgi is represented as kind of the evil villain of Red Velvet, and in her solo debut, she makes a point to tell the audience good and evil are in everyone. The color palette, the symbolization, and the portrayal of this theme really solidify that Seulgi as an individual in Red Velvet, to juxtapose against the group, needs to have an exaggerated, evil persona to make her her own being, while when she's a soloist, she can be all of those things at once. As a soloist, she can be complex, she can be thoughtful, she can elaborate on who she is, her life story, and how all of this has came to be. And that is your taste of 28 Reasons and its trailer. For the upcoming video, my upcoming video will be delving into the trailer and the videography of 28 Reasons. We will be looking at some interviews with my friends Caitlyn and Justin, who both have degrees in film, talking about videography, color, and all I needed to learn about 28 Reasons filming to give a good analysis for you guys. So let these things jumble about in your brain and come back next time to talk about the here and the now. See y'all next time. Bye.